Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you would, please take your seats so that we can begin. Good evening, my name is Lyndon Pryor, and I'm the president and CEO of the Louisville Urban League. And tonight I have the esteemed honor of being able to stand before you on behalf of a coalition of incredible civic organizations. Tonight's forum is hosted by the Louisville Urban League, NAACP, the Louisville chapter, or Louisville branch, League of Women Voters, Black Leadership Action Coalition of Kentucky, National Council of Negro Women, Clout, the Links, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Eta Omega Chapter, and ADOS Kentucky. This is your first opportunity to hear directly from those running for mayor, all in one place. Tonight's event is a forum. It is not a debate, and that is an important distinction. Every candidate will have the opportunity to answer the same questions, and their job is not to engage each other, but to speak directly to you. With that in mind, we asked a couple of things of our audience that is live with us tonight. First, please maintain respectful and engaged atmosphere. This is incredibly critical to a civic discussion. Please refrain from outbursts or heckling or interruptions of any kind. Secondly, we ask that you please silence your phones. Before we begin, I want to review with you all the rules. The candidates have heard these rules in a meeting beforehand and have agreed to them all, but I want to make sure that you all know how tonight will flow. To ensure impartiality, we have drawn names to determine the order in which candidates will answer questions. And that rotation will progress with each question. We're committed to providing equal time for every candidate, and each will have the opportunity to answer every question. Candidates will have a strict time limit for tonight. Each candidate will have 90 seconds for an opening statement. They will have 60 seconds to answer a question. And in the rare case of rebuttals, a candidate may get 30 seconds to rebut. But one real caveat there is that a rebuttal will be at the discretion of the moderators. And then every candidate will have 90 seconds for closing statements. This forum is more than just about listening, it is about action. It is about understanding the critical role that you play in shaping our city's future. That is the core mission of the Louisville Urban League and our Power Shift campaign. The Power Shift movement is to amplify voices of our community and to mobilize our neighbors to hold our leaders accountable. We believe that true power lies with the people, but the people must use their most powerful tool, which is the vote. When you came in, you should have received one of these flyers. I'm asking everyone here to pledge to vote. Scan the QR code, go to the website, and put it in that you are going to pledge to vote. This is a simple survey that tells us that you are committed to voting. This is a nonpartisan event, and the Urban League is a nonpartisan election, but we want to ensure that everyone is using their vote and their voice. So please make sure that you have completed the pledge to vote and then share it within your community so that they sign up as well. And now, to lead us through tonight's important conversation, it is my pleasure to introduce our esteemed moderators. Kenya Young is president and CEO of Louisville Public Media, where she leads WFPL News, WFPK Music, WUOL Classical, and the Kentucky Center for Investigative Reporting. Kenya's career in public media spans nearly 2 decades. Before joining LPM, she was the senior vice president at New York Public Radio, overseeing shows like Radio Lab, On the Medium, and New York Radio Hour. Before that, she spent 15 years at NPR in Washington, D.C., where she rose from producer to editor to leadership roles as executive producer and managing editor. She led NPR's flagship top-ranked shows, including Morning Edition, All Things Considered, and the podcast Up First. An award-winning journalist, Kenya is committed to amplifying diverse voices in journalism and mentoring the next generation of media leaders. Originally from Los Angeles, California, she's lived in Louisville for just under a year. She's a graduate of the University of Notre Dame. Also joining us as moderator is Gilbert Coursey, an evening anchor with WDRB News in Louisville, where he currently anchors the station's 4, 5, 6, and 10 p.m. newscasts. But Gilbert doesn't just sit back behind the desk. He's widely known for his signature special reports, telling stories that touch viewers' hearts and hold decision makers accountable. Throughout his career, he has exposed flaws in the justice system, uncovered questionable spending with taxpayer money, and investigated political corruption and environmental waste. His reporting consistently brings important issues to light and drives meaningful conversations in the community. Gilbert's received more than 30 regional Emmy and Mayoral awards and 2 Salute to Excellence honors from the National Association of Black Journalists. Louisville is the latest stop in a career that has taken him across the country with newsroom experience in Texas, North Carolina, and West Virginia. With more than 20 years in the industry, Gilbert is also passionate about mentoring the next generation of storytellers. He dedicates his time in guiding college students and coaching young journalists as they develop their skills and their voice. Would you all please join me in welcoming our 2 moderators for the evening, and they will introduce our candidates.
Thank you very much for being here this evening. It is our honor to be able to bring this to you. And we're going to get started right on time, because that's what journalists and newsroom folks do. So we're going to start with introducing our candidates. They're going to come out, as Lyndon Pryor just explained. Names were pulled in random order. So we are going to start with Councilwoman Shamika Parris-Wright. Musician and entrepreneur Jody Hurt. Repair technician S. Datillo. Navy veteran Bob DeVore.
Navy veteran Jeffrey Yoakum. The founder of the Louisville Metro Watchdog Alliance, Tina Burnell. Museum volunteer Matthew Bailey. And Pastor Lisa Holiday Harris. And we will begin tonight with opening comments. Dr. Harris, you have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
I am Dr. Lisa Holiday Harris, and my campaign, The Power of One Voice, is built on a simple, radical idea that Louisville needs a fix. It's time to tell the truth where Louisville is right now. We are dealing with rising concerns about safety, struggling neighborhoods, and a growing sense that City Hall is not fully present or accountable to be here for the people it serves. And when leadership is missing, problems don't just sit still, they get worse. Now look at this race. You have candidates who have been part of a system for years, some deeply embedded in it, and yet the same issues keep recurring in our community's crime, affordability, and the lack of trust. At some point, we must ask a simple question. If the system was working, why are people still struggling? And then when we see decisions and ideas being introduced without real community awareness, projects and priorities that residents didn't ask for, didn't want, don't feel included in, that creates frustration and distrust. So where does it? Where does it end? Where does it leave us, or the people of Louisville? Too often, caught in the middle, feeling like they are an afterthought instead of priority. I'm not running to defend the system, I'm running to fix what's not working, to restore accountability, bring leadership back into a room, and make sure that every decision starts with the people of this city. My name is Lisa Holiday Harris, Lisa for Lou, ky.com. Thank you.
Ms. Brunel, 90 seconds.
Good evening. Thank you to our moderators, our host, and every one of you who came out tonight. My name is Tina Brunel, and I'm running to be your next mayor. I was born and raised in Louisville, graduated from Valley High School, earned my degree in business administration. I got involved in local government when I began to see things going on that I thought were unjust, exploitive, fiscally irresponsible, and I repeatedly watched community voices being marginalized in the decisions and processes that directly impact our lives. The hyperscale data center being built on Campground Road is a prime example. In 2023, I founded the Louisville Metro Watchdog Alliance, a nonpartisan civic initiative dedicated to increasing citizen participation in local government. Government is supposed to serve the people. This administration has spent far too much time protecting insiders, wasting taxpayer dollars, cutting backroom deals, rigging contracts for favored developers, and placing the interest of a privileged few ahead of the many. In 2023, Fisher's office payroll was $1.8 million. Currently under Greenberg, it is $3.4 million. How have the people benefited from that increase? I'm fed up with the elitism, the cronyism, and being told things that don't line up with what my eyes clearly see. And I suspect that many of you are too. That's why I'm running for mayor, to put Louisville back on the right track, effectively and efficiently serving the people. Thank you.
Mr. Bailey, a minute and a half, opening remark.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming. My name is Matthew Bailey. I'm a graduate of Shawnee High School, class of 2022. I am a volunteer at the LaGrange Railroad Museum. I love our community, and I'm really passionate about the city and all the problems we have and everything, and I want to make a change for the good. I've been born and raised in this city. I've gone through the school system. I've driven on the roads. I am one of you guys. And I see countless things that we need to change with our city, whether it be the police department, accountability with the police department, of course, our school system. We don't fund our school system as much as we should. With the growing problems that have been occurring due to the current federal administration, we are going to have to deal with constitutional issues related to ICE soon. And they're going to become big. We are a blue city in a red state. That paints a big target on our back, and we got to deal with that. Now, I am anti-ICE, pro-LGBTQ+, and pro-Louisvillians, all right? I love the city. I love our hometown. I yield my time.
And you've just heard the sound that it makes if you go over your time. Mr. Yoakum, 90 seconds.
Hey, thank you guys for coming out tonight, and it's a huge honor to be here, and I just kind of disheartened tonight. You know why? Mayor Craig Greenberg is supposed to be here. He is not. I'm sick of it. This city needs a mayor. We don't need a CEO. We don't need a developer. We don't need a guy that's into everything that does not help the people of this city. I'm sick of it. So I saw his excuse this morning. He had to be in Frankfurt. Guess where I've been at all day long? And I talked to dozens of representatives up there in Frankfurt today. I still have made sure that I showed up here to be heard by the voters. And what I hope you all do, and the people of this city, if you all want real leadership, you want servants, you need to pick two people on this stage to move on and not Mayor Craig Greenberg. If you want to see Louisville change for the better, do not vote for Greenberg and it will happen. And I am the one that has been after him since day one. I think this is about the fifth time now he has dodged coming to our forums, debates, and whatnot. It's about transparency, and this is Louisville's first in history non-partisan election. Well, I walk a dangerous path. I try to walk the path of unity. I don't see no opponents on this stage. I see a lot of people that I would love to work with to make Louisville a better place for all of us. And that's literally it. My mood's not that great tonight because the mayor is too good to be here. You all are not important enough, but you are for me and the other candidates that you see sitting before you. Thank you.
Mr. DeVore, a minute and a half, opening statement.
Yes, sir. I feel like I'm getting a suntan from these lights. I'm like California, like, whoa, you know? So anyway, I'm here to serve. All the way back to age 13, when my dad had this enterprising thought of having range chickens. Didn't have a fence up there, so we had to chase those chickens back and forth. And then you wonder why they were skinny. Went in the Navy, did my service there at the age of 19. Worked in the food service field and focused on what is best for our sailors. When I worked at the UPS, made lead, made a CHSP committee, which is safety, wellness champion would have to do with health. So here I am serving other people. Worked at the West End for 10 years with Jesus Movement, and I'm young Miss Wanda McIntyre. She's a lovely lady. She's my sister, and the first day I met her, she says, "What are you doing in my office?" But the point of the matter is that we made a relationship. And to me, we need to build relationships with all of us. The journey that we take, relationships we make, good and bad and ugly, and sometimes we got to face that ugly. And taking care of what's best for our city, building from the bottom up. We need you to be part of our team. And doing that, we have to look at the tough problems that we have to face when it comes to safety, when it comes to lack of benefits for our police officers, when it comes to lack of benefits for all the folks that really want to make a difference in our city. So it's going to be up to you on May 19th to make a difference.
Mr. Datillo, 90 seconds.
Howdy, everybody. My name is Datillo. Some people, my friends, and a lot of people that can't pronounce that will refer to me as D. One thing I want to stress is that my entire life, I have been fixing everything that was around me, from sandwiches that got shoved into the microwave by my little sister to whatever car I'm currently, well, at some points in my life, living out of or working from. I have had my hands into every corner of this city. I've worked in the entertainment industry, I've worked in the food industry, I've worked in repair for computers, for cars. I've helped people rehabilitate themselves time and time again. I fix anything. Just bring it to me. And I want to let you know, I've been paying attention to what's been going on in the city for the last few decades. And I've been talking to anybody that would listen. And they've all asked me to end up on this stage. So I'm here, doing this for y'all. Not necessarily for myself. I'd rather be off doing karaoke right now. I might go later if y'all are interested. First drink's on y'all. And with that being said, I yield my time.
Thank you, Mr. Datillo. Mr. Hurt, 90 seconds for an opening statement.
Thank you. What's your go-to song? My name is Jody. I'm from Prestonsburg, Kentucky. And what I saw growing up there was a problem of people making decisions from Chicago, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia for people who live very, very far from there. And then I moved to Louisville for school, built a family here, and I've been seeing the same kinds of things. In fact, the distance is so bad that this evening, while there's a candidate forum going on, there's a listening session or a council event of some sort that's conflicting, that's totally it's totally avoidable. But that happens because the structure is broken. Now you're going to hear a lot of talking this evening about ways to fix what we have, and I'm going to present a different kind of solution, not just a different solution. I'm going to suggest that we need to reverse the merger altogether. We need to go back to the way things were before 2003, where the city of Louisville made decisions for the city of Louisville, Fern Valley made decisions for Fern Valley, Valley Station wasn't ignored. Now, I've been in the schools, I've taught, I've played music, I've created, and I've been around the city raising my kids. And I'm looking forward to working with you tonight to imagine what that could be better.
Thank you, Mr. Hurd. And Councilwoman Shamika Parrish-Wright, a minute and a half for an opening statement.
I've been watching. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, and I want to thank the organizers for putting this on. And you are in the high school that belonged to Muhammad Ali, some amazing lawyers, some judges, and my two sons. One is graduating this year. I am excited to be here for the second time running to be your next Louisville mayor because I love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. And I know how important leadership is. Now, I was not born here. I was born in Cincinnati. But I have half of my kids were born here. Now I'm about to have 5 JCPS graduates. I grew here. I became stable here. Louisville is my home. And I want to make the same opportunities available for everyone we know. Too many people are suffering. I moved here right before merger, so I saw the changes that were supposed to happen, and I've also experienced what really happened. So I think that together we can work to have a better Louisville for everyone because we all matter, no matter what's in our bank account, no matter what zip code we live in. We have been neglected and ignored on so many levels by not just this mayoral administration, but others. I've experienced 3 mayors in Louisville. I'm trying to be another mayor that is people-centered, people-focused, and will bring you to the table and focus on solutions. Thank you.
Our questions tonight are clustered into areas of high importance, high interest for voters in Louisville, and we will begin with the topic of public safety. Candidates, the Community Commitment and the Independent Monitor are Louisville's voluntary framework for police accountability. Do you support this framework, and if so, how would you make sure its standards and funding hold up throughout your administration, knowing that any sitting mayor can change or eliminate it? You each have 1 minute apiece to answer this question, and Ms. Burnell will begin with you.
Public safety in our community is priority number 1, and I think increasingly the citizens in Louisville are feeling unsafe. We have people waking up daily to their vehicles missing or being broken into. So I think that is a very huge concern for our community and something that must be addressed. I do support the voluntary procedures that have been in place. I do support keeping that accountability. I think the community has demanded that, and rightfully so. If you read the Department of Justice report and saw some of the things that have gone on here, you know that we need that accountability. So I will continue to support that. I will make sure that it's fully funded, and I will work diligently to make sure that our citizens feel safe.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey, 1 minute.
All right. Well, public safety is a big thing that we have to work on improving here in Louisville. And the first part of that is changing the people who enforce it. The Louisville Police Department has been corrupt and running amok for years now. You've seen it with Breonna Taylor. You've seen it with, I don't remember that officer's name, but someone used police cameras to illegally look at license plates using like the license plate readers and giving that information to ICE to arrest them and stuff. And they just get off scot-free. Like, especially the Breonna Taylor stuff, like, she was murdered, and the worst thing that happened was people got fired and one person got 33 months in, like, jail. That's not accountability.
Your time is up. Thank you. Mr. Yoakum, 1 minute.
Hey guys, most people already know I'm a law and order candidate. You know, I served in the military and I'm coming home. And we have to bridge the gap between LMPD and the communities and work together. And if you all look around, your police force is pretty diverse, is it not? You know, we have to fix the problems of this city. And I'll tell you, you know, a minute ain't gonna answer this question, but I would work with LMPD every single day, and I will show up into the communities as I do now. You know, I was born and raised in the South End and the West End, and, you know, I understand. You know, a lot of things go wrong, but law and order is needed, and when things go wrong, who are you gonna call? Everybody knows the answer to that question. You're calling the police for help. So we have to fix the city, we have to get crime under control, and we have to get the drugs that are poisoning our communities out of here. It's destroying lives. And each and every one of you out there know the truth, and you know somebody as well as my own family. We are all suffering, and it's time to do something about it. But, the one person that could do something isn't present.
I want to give you an opportunity to answer the question that was asked, specifically Louisville's framework, the community commitment and the independent monitor. Do you support that, and how would you uphold the funding in your administration if you do? And if you don't, then what does that accountability model look like for you?
With LMPD, it would be fully funded. It would be fully staffed. As of right now, there is have you heard of what's going on with the city now, to where they're pulling officers from all 8 districts just to go to a certain area that the mayor is very favorable of? See, these are the things that will make the whole town go silent, because this is the truth. I have seen the messages myself. They are pulling our officers and working them overtime in certain areas. You know why? Because Mayor Craig Greenberg is turning Louisville into a tourist attraction. Guess what? There are citizens that live here, and that is us. I am one of you, and I'm sick of it. We are not a tourist attraction. This is our home. We are Louisvillians. I am a lifelong Louisvillian. I served my nation. That chapter is over and done. I'm here to serve our community now, and I'm sorry, but I back LMPD, and if that doesn't answer the question well enough, then I'm sorry. But the officers out there, they know that I back the blue, and I will continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Yoakum. To you, Mr. DeVore, the Community Commitment and Independent Monitor are Louisville's voluntary framework for police accountability. Do you support this framework that has been set up? If so, how would you make sure its standards and funding hold up in your administration, knowing that any sitting mayor can change or eliminate it?
If you know Bishop Lyons, they started the ambassadors, which goes out there and helps in that area of endeavor. So a high-risk situation comes up, they're there to help diffuse the situation, which helps the family lower the stress level. We need to focus on community-based leadership. Start at the very bottom with our communities really involved in the process. When something comes up, you know what's going on. We need to have monitors on every corner, every street, and then we need to have police officers right there at the neighborhood, knowing who they are and knowing your name and connecting with you. And by doing that, now we're raising the level of safety. Instead of stress, we have to worry about someone being shot at a bus stop, and all they want to do is go to school. So what's happening today is not working. Mayor Greenberg thinks it's working, and he says we're safer than 15%. And I'm going like, okay, show me the real numbers. I did ask for documentation, and it never happened. So we need to focus on that.
Again, and I want to offer you the opportunity to ask the question. Does a community commitment and independent monitor framework of police reform and accountability stand in your administration?
Yes. And the point of the matter is that you will be at my table. And we're going to work together. We're going to solve these problems. It takes a working class citizen to solve working class problems. And you're the one we need to help. And when we do that, now we're solving something that's going to have some meaning behind it. And that's where we need to start. Taking care of our kids, taking care of our families. Making sure not only they feel safe, but they know they are safe. Instead of gangs out there committing crimes, shooting people because they try to score points. And so they get into a gang. We need to go back to the basics of a mother and father caring family where they know that when that student gets out of hand, they know where to go. They don't want to go back to their family because that's where the core, that's where the love should be. God gives us the opportunity to serve in that fashion because the mother is a special lady. The father has a standalone reason why they're there. Children need that type of atmosphere. They want somebody they can go to. So why can't we focus on that? And then the police officers go in there and say, I'm here to serve you.
Thank you. That is your time. Mr. DiTillo, the Community Commitment and Independent Monitor are Louisville's framework for police accountability. Does this framework stand in your administration? And does the funding, how would you fund it in your administration, knowing that any sitting mayor can change or eliminate it?
I believe that accountability needs to go in every direction. And amen to what you said, sir. So I would assure that we were able to acquire the funding and maintain the funding by auditing everything else. There's so much waste, so much lost money. $188 million, something like that?
Yeah.
Just for JCP, this building and its cousins. I would even go steps further. I want to create a close niche between the civilians and the protectors. I want to have the police department work with the people on the street to keep the streets safe. I want to see the police train the local people on how to properly use a firearm to protect themselves. I want to see so much involvement and accountability. I will even mandate that all police-related shooting chest cam, dash cam videos are made available within 72 hours unless the officer is the victim.
Thank you. Mr. Hurt, you need me to restate the question for you. The Community Commitment and Independent Monitor are Louisville's voluntary framework for police accountability. Do you support this framework, and if so, how would you make sure its standards and funding hold up throughout your administration, knowing that any sitting mayor can change or eliminate it?
Thank you. Yes, thanks, Jeff. I agree. We need to lead the city as a lived place instead of a destination. I believe that's been a big problem that we've been looking at. There's two parts to this. The first is the simple yes. I will continue the framework and the funding. The way that you make it robust and let it endure is that you tie those volunteer positions and the existence of the accountability network to union negotiations so that they can persist past this. But we also need to expand our concept of public safety in this city. In Louisville, the phrase getting mag-barred makes sense. That shouldn't make sense. The idea of a car running into a building, into a restaurant, is common here because we've designed a city that is unsafe for pedestrians in order to make fast cars okay. So we need to expand our concept of public safety as well as continuing the voluntary oversight.
Thank you. Councilwoman Shamika Parrish-Wright, do you need me to restate the question?
No, sir.
All right, a minute.
60 seconds goes really quick. I do want to answer your question. In Louisville, we do a great job of making things look good on paper, but we don't follow through in how they follow up. I would support the community commitment with funding and resources if we actually had a community commitment that the people of Louisville can weigh in on and make changes to and amendments. But I do want to say, there's a lack of trust and over-policing. This is Derby season. Imagine you show up to Derby and the horses are riding the people. That's what policing looks like in Louisville. And so if we want to make things better, we have to put it back into the hands of the people, and that means checks and balances. We have the police policing themselves, and that has not gotten us better. We were promised constitutional policing. We have not had that. Human rights are still being violated. And the last thing I'll say is public health and public safety are tied together. And so Louisville declared public health crisis in 2020, but nothing happened. We can't do that no more.
Pastor Harris, would you like me to restate the question?
No.
Okay, 1 minute.
Thank you, and thank you, Louisville, for this opportunity. Community commitment is not just us not being present, but understanding that safety is our commitment. And not only that, I believe that bridging the gap between new recruits and those that are on these streets to help them understand that in the neighborhoods, we need to know who our police are. We need to know them face to face. We need to know their families. We need a neighborhood again. So that's most important. And the current administration is counting drones while mothers are counting funerals. And drones cannot mentor a child or help disabled seniors to find safety. So definitely community commitment, I would assure that under my administration that would be covered. That would be looked at and that would be investigated. And we definitely need people who are accountable. I'm talking about people that are living a life of righteousness, so to speak, not just saying things, not just losing their convictions and going off and cussing, but we need to fight the right fight. So I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to stay on public safety for our next round of questioning. Just last month, on March 27, 2026, Caitlin Hall's loved ones called 911 for help during a mental health crisis. That call ended in her death. LMPD officers shot and killed her. The community commitment outlined specific mandates for how LMPD must handle mental health crises, emphasizing deflection and de-escalation. What will it take to make it less likely that a mental health crisis ends with someone being killed? Mr. Bailey, I believe you're up first. You have 1 minute.
Well, to start off with that, we need to change the police department entirely. All right, there needs to be a new police chief who will do what's right, hold people accountable, and work towards having new frameworks and stuff so events like that don't happen. Mental health is a big issue in our community, and we need to deal with it by helping people, not going there and shooting them. All right? We need a police chief and a mayor who will go out of their way to fight for the people and not be scared of the consequences coming back at them. I'm not scared. I'm a little nervous right now, but I want the best for Louisville. I want change. I yield my time.
Mr. Bailey, thank you for that. And to our audience, we would remind that we'll be respectful of our candidates in our time together. To you, Mr. Yoakum, 1 minute. Do you need me to restate the question? Sure. All right. March 27th, 2026, Caitlin Hall's loved ones called 911 for help during a mental health crisis, and that call ended with her death, with LMPD officers shooting and killing her. The community commitment outlined specific mandates for how LMPD must handle mental health crisis, emphasizing deflection and de-escalation. What will it take to make it less likely that a mental health crisis ends with someone being killed in Louisville?
First and foremost, to the family of all involved, like my prayers are with you. That is horrible. She should not be deceased. There should have been other things, less lethal, something else done. You know what I mean? I wish they had, like, possibly a negotiator or something, you know, and these are things that can be done with LMPD. But LMPD and the policies, and this is for, you know, other times and other debates, but these are discussions that need to be had. You know, that was a mental health crisis, right? Inside of a home, and the people that were in the home should have been taken out to where they could have had a one-on-one engagement that would have possibly saved her life, you know? And honestly, you know, my question would be, where is the less lethal, you know, in that situation, knowing what's going on? And we got a lot of strong officers out here, and a lot of them could have very easily disarmed her, you know, hand to hand. I wish that would have happened. I truly do. And it's unfortunate, but just my prayers are with the family, and I'm really sorry for what happened.
Thank you, Mr. Yoakum. To you, Mr. DeVore, do you need me to restate the question?
No, sir.
All right, 1 minute.
Yes, sir. So it is pretty sad, and the point is that we need to focus on how do we take the base of our neighborhoods and integrate it into that situation. So let's say this happens, and you have Kareem out there, and you have Bishop Lyons out there, and they're on the scene, and they're trying to help that family, you know, de-escalate the situation, and then the police officers show up and say, hey, let's back off, let them do their job, then we're going to intervene. Now, when you do that, you're being proactive in trying to help that young person out. And next thing you know, everything is slowed down, everything de-escalate, and that problem's solved. But when we go in there and you react to the situation, and then you wonder why the person gets shot, because these areas of endeavor is not being taken care of. The family's not being taken care of, the person that got shot not being taken care of, and we're not doing our job as caring groups of people out there saying, hey, we're part of the team, we're part of the police officer team, but the point of the matter is that we're there to help our families, so that's what it comes down to it.
Thank you, Mr. DeVore. Mr. Datillo, would you like me to restate the question?
Go ahead.
Okay. March 27, 2026, Caitlin Hall's loved ones called 911 for help during a mental health crisis. That call ended with her death, with LMPD officers shooting and killing her. The community commitment outlined specific mandates for how LMPD must handle a mental health crisis, emphasizing deflection and de-escalation. What will it take to make it less likely that a mental health crisis ends with someone being killed in Louisville?
First of all, I would try to make sure that we have as many different tool belts and tools on said tool belts available for the police officers. They should have at least 3 or 4 different non-lethal options. A net gun shaped like a shotgun, or shoots out bean bags, or the pepper balls. I got to taste those back in the 2020 riots chasing around downtown. They can clear your sinuses real quick, and you'll really want to snort some milk out of some young lady's hands. If she offers, you want to make sure she offers first. We also have to worry about the mental health of our officers. I believe we are incredibly understaffed as far as the police and the first responders and the civil services as it goes across the board. And that is horrible on the mental health, to be stuck in overtime for 6, 7, 8 months out of the year. It's cultural decline across the board on everybody's side, and we have to work together to fix it.
Thank you, Mr. Datillo. Mr. Hurt, do you need the question again?
The word at the end of her name, I've never understood what you're saying. Read it again.
Okay.
Top.
March 27, 2026, Caitlin Hall's loved ones called 911
Okay.
for help during a mental health
So it wasn't her.
crisis.
Got it. Loved ones I could never understand.
Okay.
Another two-part answer. Qualified immunity has to go. Period. There's a concept of, in philosophy called the ring of Gyges, and basically you're giving them a way out. It's a get out of jail free card. Qualified immunity has to go. Civil asset forfeiture has to go. But broadly speaking, what we have to do is we have to make operating as a police officer something other than the most dangerous thing that person's ever going to do. Right now, there's this phrase: I would rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6, and that's disgusting, right? Because that means that they would rather end the thing in shooting the other person than what they assume is the natural thing. So we have to make that something other than the most dangerous thing they do. That is by incorporating mental health professionals in these calls. We cannot let mental health checks be executions because of fear.
Thank you. Councilwoman Parrish Wright. 1 minute.
Thank you. I respectfully bet that Caitlin Hall's family wished they had never called LMPD that day. More trauma was created, and it didn't help. She needed assistance. So I knew this would come up, and I wrote down some things because it's very emotional. But to me, when you think about the branches of government, enforcement is buried in there. And that decision, they got to be judge, jury, and executioner. That must stop. And so you show me your budget, you show me your priorities. This was a policy failure for Caitlin Hall and her family. And we have a job to do when it's our turn to make sure these policies don't kill any more Louisvillians. I am disgusted at what happened, and I've seen that video, and there was a better way to deal with that. So no officer under 5 years should deal with a mental health crisis without having a mental health professional.
Pastor Harris. First, thank you, Councilwoman Parrish Wright. Pastor Harris, do you need me to restate the question?
No, I do not.
All right, 1 minute,
And
ma'am.
thank you. And I knew this would come up. There have been several deaths that have happened. And this one is definitely one that's hurtful. I take it back to, I have to lean on my ministerial position. I need to find out who failed her before the police entered that room. What mental services or what person may have let her down. This is unfortunate. I pray for the family, but there are services and people who wear badges and check people in, and there's a blanket of passive-aggressive behavior and dismissiveness in our society in this city. So sometimes it starts just with the services, keeping people out in waiting rooms way too long, not getting their medication on time, somebody partying all night, getting to work late and missing that phone call. These are the things that I would like to fix before a police officer has to pull the trigger. That's what we need to do. We need to go back. There's two sides to every story. I support law enforcement, absolutely. I have family members that are in law enforcement and EMS. But I do say this, we have to fix services across the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Harris and Ms. Brunel. Do you need me to restate the question?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, 1 minute.
Okay. Our mental health system is broken. I think that we all know that. I think we see that in the homelessness that we see. I think that we see that in the lack of services. In this situation, Caitlin Hall was suicidal, in crisis, and her family called for help. In desperation, they called the police for help. The fact that she ended up murdered at the hands of our officers from lack of training, lack of crisis intervention training is not acceptable. It does not reconcile that a family calls for help and it ends in someone dying. That cannot ever be acceptable. We have got to get our officers intense crisis intervention training. I fully believe had more experienced officers showed up on scene, that may have gone differently. Unfortunately, when you call, you don't get to choose whether you're getting a new officer or an experienced officer, and it is a gamble. And Caitlin Hall's family learned that the hard way. It's not acceptable.
Thank you. And we'll turn things over to my co-moderator now for our next area of questioning.
Thank you, candidates, for your time on public safety. From time to time, as we reset, we will just take the time to remind the intention of the forum. This is your opportunity to tell Louisville voters where you stand on the issues, what you would specifically do, and our voters here online listening and in the audience want to hear your plan, want to work through your approach. Give us specifics and details if you have them. With that in mind and resetting the intention, I want to move on to growth and development. We're going to talk about economic development, accountability, and oversight. The first question is about the recent One Louisville merger. Louisville's Chamber of Commerce, many of us know as GLI, recently merged with a affiliated nonprofit, many of us know as LEDA, one that was subject to open records requirements. The new merger, the One Louisville, the new entity, it now operates more like a private organization than a public one. As mayor, how will you make sure that decisions about tax incentives and land use are made in the public interest and that residents have real oversight? I believe, Mr. Yoakum, we start with you.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys right there. That's one of the things I would love to discuss. LEDA, Louisville Economic Development Alliance. You all need to look at that, louisvillealliance.org. You click a couple tabs and you can see the board members. And that's why they're telling all of us candidates up here on this stage now, Mayor Craig Greenberg cannot be defeated in this election because he's got a war chest probably already surpassed $2 million, right? It's LEDA. That's the people that support him and everything else. And then, you know, LDG, they just walked away with $6.06 million of your taxpayers' dollars. Who are they endorsing in this race? Well, Mayor Craig Greenberg, of course. Like, there is so much corruption going on there, but the thing is, though, I'm here to try and expose the truth. He's a genius. And this is the truth. Mayor Craig Greenberg is literally a genius. He knows exactly what he's doing all the way to his days back with Todd Brown Frost and new market tax credits. Sorry. This is a topic I would love to discuss in depth.
Well, I would actually love to give you 30 more seconds on that, just because I would like to know what you as mayor would do and what decisions you would make about tax incentives and land use and residential oversight.
One, I would work with the communities on what they want to do, right? It would not be the board of LEDA making all decisions and getting all this favoritism that they do. I don't need an inner circle. You know what I mean? I am trying to be a servant, not a celebrity, not a multimillionaire, not an entrepreneur. I'm trying to be a mayor. Wouldn't you all love to have a mayor in Louisville? And I think you have quite a few candidates here that have put their names on the ballot. And I congratulate and I praise each and every single one of them for stepping up for all of you. You know what I mean? It's not a game. And that's what we're in this race for.
Thank you for expanding on that. Mr. DeVore.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like me to repeat?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
The first thing I want to do as my administration is bring in working class individuals who live in the neighborhood, who want to make a difference. If we're going to change the concept that these millionaires and billionaires have control of our West End, that's got to stop. We're the ones that's going to control the area. We're the ones going to invest our money into West End. We're going to bring in local stores, local shops, these abandoned buildings out there that are left there that he does not care about. He wants to build this thing down here and have more hotels, more things, more resorts. We got to understand that this is our city, and we need to be in control of that the day one and saying, you're not going to do this anymore, and we're going to invest our money, and it's going to stay in there instead of some millionaire out there who takes these abandoned houses, changes them, and keeps the money. So I want to take the abandoned houses and rotate it, fix them, and then give back to the people, and that money stays, that business stays in the West End. And then you are in control of what's going on instead of what happens at the top, which starts at the bottom, and the growth starts there.
Thank you. Mr. Dattilo.
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, I want to audit everything. I want to open up all the books. I want all the numbers prolapsed out onto the street. I want us to see exactly what they've been up to for, I'd be willing to go back 15, 20 years, 30, 40, for as far back as we can remember, because it's been dirty for quite a long time. The city's basically a laundering program for as best as I can tell. And the most angry group of accountants and detectives and computer programmers, I'm sure we could put a group of them together that could cut back the fat and get us into a budget that could have us growing forward, opening up huge amounts of hemp textile factories, making paper, plastic shirts, providing good jobs for the locals. I've already been in talks with some of the hemp farmers about what it would take to get those factories started here. And it's actually a lot easier than you would think it would be.
Thank you. Mr. Hurt. Would you like me to repeat the question? Louisville's Chamber of Commerce, commonly known as GLI, formerly known as GLI, recently merged with city-affiliated nonprofit, formerly known as LEDA, one that was subject to open records requirements. In the new entity called One Louisville, which now operates more like a private organization than a public one. How will you as mayor ensure that decisions about tax incentives and land use are made in the public interest and residents have real oversight?
Sure. So Louisville economic development is an insider's game, and you are not playing, ladies and gentlemen. The merger of these organizations mirrors the merger of the county and city in that they are designed to keep us away from those decisions. As mayor, I would run nothing through those organizations. We would end all public-private partnerships because that's not a thing. And more importantly, what's being left out here is Valley Station, the Highlands, Fern Creek. Nothing that these organizations are doing is considering those places. And there are tens of thousands of people who live in this county who don't live in downtown Louisville, who have interest in what's going on, who are voting for people, but who are getting ignored because that's not where these people are making their money. They want to pad their pockets with public-private partnerships. That's a lot of peas.
All right. Thank you. Councilwoman.
Thank you. I'm going to answer your question first because I have a lot to say. Invest in neighborhoods, not just in downtown. Support workers and small businesses because economic development should be felt everywhere, and it's not. So LEDA is a colonizer's dream. It basically ate GLI, and I wasn't the biggest fan of GLI, but at least we had more understanding. I believe with LEDA, Craig Greenberg is creating a cushion seat for when he's done playing with our tax money. And so for me, I will work hardest to undo the harms of LEDA and make sure that he can't continue to control business development and our tax dollars when he's not even mayor, because that's what he's doing. He's solidifying his position. So working to undo LEDA starts now, even as I am a councilwoman, but I know it's hard for people to focus on it. So I will start now to continue to do my research, and when I become mayor, that is one of the first things that I'll be working on in the first 100 days.
Pastor Holiday Harris.
Thank you.
you need the question?
I do not.
Okay.
What I want to bring to Louisville is something brand new. And what I understand about taxation and GLI, this current taxation in Louisville is a gatekeeper system. It penalizes stability, and one thing we haven't mentioned, it will implement problems for seniors. With property tax freezes, seniors and our disabled neighbors who live in their homes for 20 years or more will have to maybe pay rising taxes. These are just some of the things we need to consider when we're talking about mergers in a conglomerate that needs to be brought down. So that's the fix. That's what we do. We recreate something new. It'd be nice to move Louisville into something new, a new mindset, that we can rebuild this budget situation. We can rebuild with our dollars a whole new system. So just consider that when you're considering Lisa Holliday Harris for mayor. Consider something new that we can build and break these walls down. Thank you.
Thank you. I am going to give you yielded some time there. I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds because what we have is no GLI or LIDA, but something new, which is One Louisville. So I guess in your response to One Louisville, which is new, what's the oversight that you would see in that space?
Well, the thing is, I believe that if it's brought up and it's an issue, then it's not working. Even if it's One Louisville for who, and who's involved, and who has the money. That's me. I'm a taxpayer. My husband's a taxpayer. Am I a part of that conglomerate? So if it's not working, we should offer something new. Look at it, revisit it, review it, and then look at it and replace it if it's not working.
Thank you for expanding on that.
Thank you.
Mr. Bailey. Oh, sorry, Ms. Burnell.
Okay, LIDA. When LIDA was first formed, I objected to that. I objected to our taxpayer money going to fund this group. When they decided to merge with GLI this year, I objected to that. One Louisville is big money and their vision for our city. It does not include the people. I think the way that we make sure decisions are made in the public interest is by keeping public business public. Having private clubs that are deciding what to do with our money and what to do with our city is not acceptable. And that has been the Greenberg way from day one. It must end. So, you know, what Mayor Greenberg has done since he's been in office, he is pulling together groups of private groups of his friends and cronies to make decisions for our city. Were you invited to the table? Was your opinion sought? It's not. And for anything private to be being done with our taxpayer money is not acceptable. Open government is the rule, not the exception.
And Mr. Bailey.
Well, no part of government should be operated like a private company. Everything needs to be open. Everybody needs a voice. Everybody needs to be able to contribute their ideas to what needs to happen. And a company like that that's operating more like a private company is just completely unacceptable. We need to put the power in the hands of the people who currently are living in the places that are affected by these taxes, these changes to the economy, these changes to residential zones, commercial zones, zoning, everything. The people who live there that it affects, those are the people who should be able to make the decisions, not some random company, all right? I yield my time.
Thank you. Our second question in this area is a new area for us, both globally and here in Louisville. Metro government recently hired a chief AI officer, chief artificial intelligence officer, and launched a pilot program to improve upon the permitting process. Last year, the Louisville Planning Commission approved a plan for its first data center here in Louisville. Do you support data centers in Louisville? And if so, what rules would you put in place to protect neighborhoods from the environmental cost and financial increases like utility bills that come from them? If not, where do you stand on how Louisville should engage with the AI industry as it continues to normalize and grow? I believe we start over here with you, Mr. DeBoer.
My biggest concern is what to do with the information. I mean, we deal with ID, we deal with things on a daily basis when it comes to our credit cards, our personal information. Now it's going to go to a data center. So we need to have some safeguards on how they use that information, and we should be responsible and ask the right questions on what is happening with these data centers, how they're going to generate the energy that has to take these data centers, and where is this water going to come from? So one of these questions we have a right to ask. So one of the things we need to focus on is protecting our ID. This is your driver's license, this is your life. It doesn't have to be sold to whatever high-priced entrepreneur that's out there. So what we need to focus on and have the courage to ask the right questions. Where is this going? Who's going to buy this information and why? So you are the one that can stand up and be in the gap when it comes to identity and information.
Thank you. I am going to, and I'll push all of you on this, this is not just on you, I am going to push on the question of the data centers and if you support them or if you do not support them.
Good.
I do not support them for that reason.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. Yes.
All right. So data centers, I would support it if it's done right. A data center should be required to build its own power substructure. That should not be put on us. And with the size of a particular data center, it shouldn't cost a whole lot for them to build their own power system. It should be easy. And as far as what they do with our data, I am very concerned about that. We've had a lot of breaches. I'm getting 15, 20 phone calls a day from people wanting to tell me about my extended warranty running up or that I have Medicaid paperwork that needs to be finished. But I made it here through all of that. And I think that, we could move forward, letting the data centers join in with us upgrading our own power infrastructure. There's a nuclear option that nobody's even considered yet, even though they're enriching uranium in Kentucky coming soon to a county near you. We could go with thorium nuclear, which has no chance of explosion. During a catastrophic event, it cools down into a rock of salt.
Thank you. Mr. Hurt, can you maybe repeat the question? Yes? Okay. Metro government recently hired a chief artificial intelligence, AI officer, and launched a pilot program to improve upon the permitting process. Last year, the Louisville Planning Commission approved plans for its first data center here in Louisville. Straight question, do you support data centers in Louisville? If so, what rules and regulations would you put in place to protect neighborhoods from the environmental cost and financial increases that come with them? If not, where do you stand on how Louisville should engage with AI industry as we know it continues to normalize and grow?
When I heard that a chief AI officer had been hired, I literally thought it was a joke. I can't imagine a better way to burn $130,000 than to pay somebody to be a chief AI officer. So when it comes to the data center, the city's behind the 8 ball on this one. We have to use every lever we can right now to stop, delay, make it impractical for them to build this thing. Because right now, we don't know, we haven't had time to do any kind of studies to let people know what the economic, not just the economic impact, but the impact on the environment, the impact on public health from all of the fans and the things that go on there. There's a lot more than just computers spinning things. The price and gas price, like LG&E prices are going to go up. The city has to find a way to bring leverage against LG&E to, whether it be through deregulating or through purchasing LG&E or finding some other way to make the prices of LG&E come down if that data center goes through. It's too many issues for a 60-second question, but there we go.
Okay. If I could just clarify, though, it sounds like you do not support data centers.
I am not opposed to data centers as an idea. We have no data on them, we have no reports, and we are far too early in the process to be able to greenlight something, especially under the archaic name of a a data hotel or whatever it was,
Thank you.
right? The thing that they approved needs to stop.
Thank you. Councilman.
Thank you. All right, using my notes. So, no, yes, I am opposed to data centers, and I believe public input is important. Community voices should be heard in every AI decision. That AI chief person might as well be AI, as far as I'm concerned. What is she gonna do that's different than we're already experiencing? So I looked up the timeline of AI, and it says that it's been around for more than 70 years, but that in the last decade, it has accelerated. And that's my problem with how decisions are made in Louisville. Louisville needs a protector. And these systems can reflect the same biases we've seen. And so if we declared racism as a public health crisis in 2020, then we have to ask, is allowing the emergence of this new technology, will it reinforce those same disparities? We know that answer is yes. And no elected official wants an AI hotel data center in their backyard, so they damn sure shouldn't put it in your backyard. And so I will fight them as much as I can. Thank you.
Thank you. Pastor Holly Harris, do you need the question?
No, I do not, and it's a flat no on data centers for me. Yet I do have one concern. I was on a forum with REAL, an organization here that deals with solar power. And unfortunately, and I just have to go here, there was a statement that a candidate made that they snuck in a data center on us. A data center in on us. And I just want to give that candidate an opportunity to answer how is it that they snuck it in on us when you're so against it. I just know that this is going to tap us out in the West End. I know it's going to tap us out of resources and these phones that we get free data on, and this is not an attack against her at all. This is not this. This is not that, and I ask that you would open your minds to it. I just want the question and answer. How did it get snuck in on us? Because she can give us some insight. Maybe it did. Maybe it did get snuck in on her. We need to know what Metro Council is doing and why they're not involved with data centers. So this is why I oppose this. The only reason, to get to the root of it all and to fix it. Because it is sliding in on us. They're slating 20 more data centers in Louisville, so I yield. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I am actually not going to, would you like to, I was not going to have you rebuttal because you don't have to speak for the whole Metro Council, but I can give you 30 seconds to rebuttal.
Yeah. Thank you for that. It's fair. I cannot speak for the whole Metro Council. I'm on the planning and zoning, and I was ready to join a moratorium that a colleague presented, but then I learned that it was just a stopgap, part of the games that people on Metro Council play. We do have to understand that the strongest laws are around land ownership. And just like social media technology, all of this technology is ahead of our law books. So the next step was us to get the proper information through planning and zoning as we requested, but we did not get before the moratorium did not move forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for answering. Ms. Burnell. Sure.
I don't think this is so much a yes or no question. I don't know if some of you realize that we already have data centers in Louisville, and we have had for a long time. The difference, thank you. The difference in what we already have and what we're seeing now is we're talking about hyperscale data centers that are absolutely massive. Yeah. The one on Campground Road is very close to my home. They targeted a low-income area, as they've been doing for a long time, an area that's already environmentally devastated. The community had no opportunity for meaningful input. It is absolutely unacceptable and does not belong there. I don't care how close it is to Rubbertown. I don't care what other chemical plants exist around it. This was a raw deal for the community. That said, this data center is 150 acres. It's a mile long if you drive down Campground Road. It is going to hurt everyone in this city. And for the developer to put his investment above the people in this community is not acceptable.
That's right.
Mr. Bailey.
I am completely opposed to data centers. I think they're bad for a whole lot of reasons. They put strain on the electricity and stuff and the prices of electricity in the community. But another thing that I haven't heard anybody talk about yet is water. Data centers use a lot of water to cool down, their CPUs and stuff. And that will put a giant strain on our local infrastructure. And the mayor needs to go out of their way to make it as hard as possible for these data centers to come into Louisville. Whether that be stuff related to them providing their own energy and water and stuff like that through some source, and them having to do stuff for the community to give back to the people that they're affecting. I yield my time.
Thank you, candidates. We will move on to our next section. Did you? I'm so sorry. No, look at that. I'm going to give you 90 seconds for that.
No, it's okay.
Do you need the question?
No, it's actually kind of funny because what you're sitting here talking about, you all can look this up yourself. She's talking about GovStream is what they're bringing in, and you now got a chief AI officer here in Louisville. And I'll tell you what, I'll move to another city too if you start me out over $150,000 and just let me run wild. Like, I would love to do that. But y'all know how much the city has given to GovStream? $2 million of your dollars, right? Guess where they're from? Seattle, Washington. Guess how much they just started with within the last 3 years? $3 million for the entire thing. So a $3 million company out of Seattle is now here in Louisville, and they've already got $2 million of your tax dollars. But the whole thing is, in reality, technology does advance. AI is real. It is coming. But if they're going to bring stuff into the city of Louisville, it has to benefit Louisville and Louisvillians, not these inner circles and all this behind the closed doors and secrecy and everything else. It must be transparent. If it's going to hurt you all and raise LG&E bills and this and that, and you all already see what they're doing to you, right? You know, y'all been opening them bills, and I've been warning the people it's coming. But I will stand up for the people of Louisville and what's right, and I won't need the extra time. But just go ahead and do your own research at home. Look up GovStream. Look how big of a company it is. If it was me in that position, I would be looking at more serious companies like XAI and, you know, the others that are the leaders in the, it's coming, it's technology. But I would have to stand neutral for now because it's being done the wrong ways. It's being handled incorrectly. I would do it the right way with the people that have the experience and the transparency to you, the voters and the people.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to shift the conversation now to city resources. And full transparency, we're just having a conversation because we're keeping our night on schedule, and therefore we're going to have to reshape some of our questions in order to get as many in as possible within the time that we have here. So we're moving on to city resources, and we're going to talk about housing. According to the city's latest housing needs assessment, I should say, Louisville needs 36,000 more housing units for people living at or below the poverty line. And that gap keeps growing. What specific policy or regulatory changes would you implement to expand affordable housing for our lowest income residents? And what would you do to make sure people aren't losing their homes while waiting for those units to exist? Mr. DiTillo, I believe we start with you, 1 minute.
Well, having been homeless myself for an extended period of time in my youth, I find that very close to heart. So housing, we have a shortage of it because the population has boomed. We just can't look aside from it. We've got a lot more people here than we did previously, even in such a short period of time. We need to do things like make more building material affordable and readily available. And that's one thing that we can also do with hemp textile. We can make 2x4s out of the hemp fiber pressed together. It's like magic. You make plastic out of it, cloth out of it, food out of it. And it's been one of the Democrat Party's daydreams to make it come true. And to do that here in Kentucky could help the housing crisis by lowering the housing costs. As far as keeping people in their homes while waiting to get there, we need to get better jobs here quick. And that's also helped with the hemp factories, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Datillo. Mr. Hurd, what specific policy or regulatory changes would you implement to expand affordable housing for our lowest income residents? And what would you do to make sure that people aren't losing their homes until those housing units come online?
I have two proposals, the first of which I call a green light benefit. I would initiate a direct payment program to people living in historically red-lined areas. The second proposal is I'm calling lots to lofts. We have a supply problem, and it's a global asset bubble that we're dealing with. We cannot build our way out of the problem because anything that we build, especially when they're luxury apartments, they get added to the global asset bubble where people from out of town are buying things just to have assets. What we need is city-owned apartments, thousands, literally 2,000 in the first year, city-owned apartments rented at 70% of the market rate, built on vacant lots and city-owned buildings that we're going to tear down and build apartments on top of.
Thank you, Mr. Hurd. Councilwoman Parrish-Wright, do you need me to restate the question?
No, sir, thank you.
1 minute.
This is something I'm very passionate about. You can follow my story from being homeless here twice and coming from that and now being a homeowner. So I see housing as everything. It's infrastructure, it's healthcare, it's all the things that we need. And when people are safe and stable, they're able to do more. So my solution would be to fund anti-displacement policies, expand housing trust fund, which I helped lobby for as a homeless person, support co-ops. I do believe in social housing, and also making sure that we have rental assistance, that we're supporting tenants' rights and tenants' ability to organize and get the things that they need, that we are supporting many pathways to home ownership because we want everyone to become homeowners, but we do not have the housing stock for that. So renters matter. I come from the renting community and I support them as well. So I think that if we work on making sure people are safe and stable, we help keep people housed, our seniors are able to age in place, and our young people find wages that match so they can buy homes, we'll all be better. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Pastor Harris, do you need the question?
No.
1 minute.
So when it comes to housing and affordability and displacement, you have to understand we're in a housing state of emergency. So as your mayor and asking to be your mayor, there will be a 90-day adaptive reuse protocol for the city-controlled vacant properties. So that way, there's nobody suffering true displacement. We will fast track, we will build universal designs, accessible and mandated, not an option, for veterans, those that are disabled, and the elderly who would like to have a nice home and have a place to stay. As you see, the incumbent isn't here to explain why he's counting units built while we're being priced out of accessible housing, and then also offer substantial financing to those organizations that help with housing stability, and it should be a non-judgmental situation. There are people that work every day that look okay, that are not hurting, but their finances are hurting, and some people who push that pen make judgment calls that deny people of that service. So those are the things that I would like to fix and see, because we have also been in the face of homelessness. Thank you.
Ms. Brunell, 1 minute.
This is way too big of a question to answer in a minute. So I'm going to say, I think we have to start by inviting other voices, organizations, and businesses to the table to talk about what policies and changes will make maximum impact. I have gone back and watched the debates from the last two mayoral races. We are talking about the same issues over and over and over and over, and nothing is changing. The funds are going out, but we're not quite seeing the impact that I think we should. And I think there needs to be accountability. When we talk about, she mentioned the Louisville Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and I know that they do good work. I also know that they have given one developer close to $40 million of our money. The same developer that just got $6 million plus legislation changes in a lawsuit. So there has to be accountability and there has to be transparency. And we have to have honest conversations about why we're not seeing the changes and the impact that we should.
Can you please restate the question?
Sure. According to the city's latest housing needs assessment, Louisville needs 36,000 more housing units for people living at or below the poverty level. And that gap keeps growing. So what specific policy or regulatory changes would you implement to expand affordable housing for our lowest income residents? And what would you do to make sure people aren't losing their homes while waiting for those units to come online?
Well, first, we got to look at how Louisville has been built over the years. Especially downtown, we have parking garages and buildings everywhere. We have office buildings that are tall, and most of them aren't fully filled. We need to change things. We need to try to partner with organizations that will help people and try to provide more homes and stuff. And we need to reorganize just the Louisville government in general. Like the AI stuff, that's $135,000 that could be going to helping someone have a home. And that's going to some random dude working on AI stuff. Like, it's, yeah. That's about all I have to say. We need to focus on the people. Like,
that is your time, Mr. Bailey. Thank you. Mr. Yoakum, do you need the question?
You can go ahead, yeah.
Okay. What specific policy or regulatory changes would you implement to expand affordable housing for our lowest income residents? And what would you do to make sure people aren't losing their homes while waiting for those units to come online?
All right, I like how the word unit keeps getting used, and I'll explain it real fast. Mayor Craig Greenberg and his friends, he loves to put the people on their knees to where they're reliant. So let's say you get in there and you get yourself a unit and you get a check and it comes in, a subsidized check. How long do you maintain that check? It immediately goes to the landlords and those that are in power with him, you know, the landlords. They get the money. It comes from the taxpayers, goes to you temporarily, and then bam, into their bank accounts. It's a beautiful system they built. They're geniuses. They know what they're doing. But me, I believe in the American dream, and I believe in home ownership, and I believe that the people of Louisville want opportunity. And to do that, you have to bring in more jobs that are here for the people. And the good jobs that are here need to go to the Louisvillians, not people from bring them in and, hey, we're just going to start you off $150,000+ a year. What about you all that have lived here your entire lives? So I promise you, I am a fighter that is here for Louisvillians. And once again, it's a long topic, and a minute's not enough, but I appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, I am going to give you 30 more seconds because I'm going to ask the question again. What specific policy or regulatory change are you proposing to expand affordable housing in the city?
Well, for one, like when I speak to people all over the city, the thing is they're saying there's nothing here for them. You know what I mean? So you need to bring things into Louisville to give people what we call a life worth living. You know, a good job to where you're happy to show up, you know? And this can go into it's a long debate, you know what I mean? This is a heavy topic, and it's on the hearts of quite a few of us sitting up here on the stage, and we shall continue, but I promise you there are plans in action. I just don't want to say nothing right now because Greenberg's listening.
Okay, Mr. Yoakum. To you, Mr. DeVore, 1 minute. Do you need me to restate the question?
No, sir.
Okay.
So in 1980, me and my wife lived in Americana Apartments with the Southside Drive, $150, and the roaches didn't pay a penny for that. I mean, we had 1,000 roaches in there partying at night. But the point of the matter is this, is that we are stuck in a rotating, never-ending apartments where you're putting more of your money into it instead of investing into other areas when it comes to your kids, your parents, whatever it may be. So what we need is set up a committee inside of our neighborhoods that's going to be able to say, hey, we're going to focus on what is best for our apartments. And I would like to go ahead and see a line where it says, landlords, you can only charge this amount of money. Now, I can't do this by myself, but if I get other mayors in other cities to bind together and have that power to say, yes, we're going to focus on what is best for our citizens, and not only get the best apartments, but the code system is messed up. I mean, it's like a neo-Nazi HOA, and they're telling you what to do, which is wrong.
We're going to shift our conversation now to education. Jefferson County does not have free universal pre-K. Kentucky continues to fail at passing any initiatives, yet early childhood reports continue to show that more than half of our incoming kindergartners in Louisville are not ready for kindergarten. In a system where the mayor does not control the school system, what strategies or tools would you implement to address kindergarten readiness? Mr. Hurt, I believe we're starting with you. You have 1 minute.
Can you repeat the question?
Ultimately, it comes down to what strategies or tools would you implement to address kindergarten readiness?
Okay. The mayor sets the conditions for learning in the city. There's clearly a symbiotic relationship between GCPS and the city. But we know that the real service that public schools offer most people is free childcare. We saw that during the pandemic. So I think that's important that we make it available, childcare and universal pre-K available for parents who want it, but we need to respect those who don't want their children to be in school that early. When it comes to delays getting into school or children not being ready, that is a political problem. That is a problem of community-based solutions that the city can have input in. Whether it be getting food to the children for breakfast, making sure that children have access to their libraries. There's a lot more things that the mayor can do that are prior to the actual schools.
And that is your time. Thank you, Mr. Hurt. And I would just ask the people in the audience to remain respectful. Thank you. Councilwoman Shamika Parrish-Wright, do you need the question?
No, sir. Thank
right.
you. I definitely support early education. I believe education is the great equalizer. I am a product of public schools. All of my kids experience Head Start and Jump Start. So I know the value, and I see how, as mayor, we are limited, but there is a lot we can do to support. There's a lot of groups and entities in our community that are doing their own thing, funding programs that help educate our young people. I would also advocate at the state level. Instead of going up there to ask them to help us build a new hotel or do something downtown, I would ask them to help us fund another version of Jump Start and Head Start that we can make sure that all kids from 2 and up get the education that they need. I think that if we don't give JCPS and TARC the full support, and as well as our libraries, then we're missing out on those opportunities. There's a way we can work together with all those groups, and a budget reflects a mayor's priorities. So I will make sure the budget reflects that. I know that this mayor has Thrive by 5, but I think there's more that we can do for early Head Start children.
Does Thrive by 5 live in your administration if elected, or is your strategy different to expand early childhood and kindergarten readiness?
I struggled with Thrive by 5 at first. I heard $5 million and they only had a website set up. So the only way Thrive by 5 survives is if they can prove that it's actually getting to the people that need it and that it's equitable and it's touching all of our city and county.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Pastor Harris, do you need the question again?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jefferson County does not have free universal pre-K. Kentucky continues to fail at passing any initiatives, yet early childhood reports continue to show that more than half of our incoming students in Louisville are not ready for kindergarten. So in a system where the mayor does not control the school district, what strategies or tools would you implement to address kindergarten readiness?
And thank you for repeating that question, because it is a deep question. Education is definitely key at a young age. And as mayor, we need to be more involved with JCPS and the school system. I believe each and every Metro Council member should be very close to their school systems as well. Not saying that they aren't, but being wholly involved with how school systems work and how children that are coming from environments that they're hungry, that their environments are maybe drug-ridden, or the families are working 2 and 3 jobs. It is very, very key that young children are able to go to school and be educated at an early age, and then fund those organizations that are definitely doing the work. I'm very passionate about education. I mean, it's really hard to not give a child what they need at the time they need it, especially if maybe the parents can't be there. There can be an educator that can help extend that child's life through education and through nurturing as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Harris. Ms. Brunell, do you need the question?
Yes, please.
Okay. Jefferson County does not have free universal pre-K. Kentucky continues to fail at passing any initiatives at the state level, yet early childhood reports continue to show that more than half of our incoming kindergarten students in Louisville are not ready. In a system where the mayor does not control the school district, what would your strategies or tools be to implement and address kindergarten readiness?
Okay. I think when we say kids are coming into kindergarten not ready, we need to be questioning what that means. I'm old enough to remember when we went to kindergarten and we played inside, then we played outside, then we had chocolate milk and a snack and a nap, and we went home happy. I think we're putting too much pressure on young kids to come at 5 and 6 years old prepared for school. That said, the mayor did start an initiative called Thrive by 5 that got $5 million. I do not like the way it's structured. I don't like the way the people were handpicked to run this organization, but it would be something that I would consider continuing and just restructuring in a little different way with a little more public input.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey, 1 minute. Do you need the question?
Nope. I'm a product of the education system here. I've been through all of it. And to start off, you got to look at, get down to basics, which is budget. JCPS needs a bigger budget. They've been underfunded for a while. And go ahead and ask your kids, if you got kids in school, get them to ask their teacher if their teacher spends some of their own money to buy stuff to help the class. They do. And when it comes to pre-education and stuff like that, I support pre-education. I'm not very, I don't know much about this organization. If they can prove themselves, then yes. But JCPS needs to not be overlooked anymore, and we need to get to the basics and focus on our kids, all right? I yield my time.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. To you, Mr. Yoakum, do you need the question?
No, this is actually one of the good topics, and I'm glad Craig Greenberg has went into Thrive by 5 because it allows me to talk about what I actually care about, and that's K through 12. Our school systems are hurting here. In the state of Kentucky, there's over 170 school districts. JCPS is one district. In the state of Kentucky, there's schools that are hurting, and they're called CSI status, which means they're in the bottom 5% of the state. Did you all know that 41 of those schools are right here in Jefferson County? So how is he coming after your babies when they're still wearing diapers, but yet he's not ready to fight and advocate for K through 12, which is our school system here, which I have 4 children in currently. I love our school system, and I love our schools, including Central here. Don't you all want to see this is your opportunity as a citizen, your education. It's tax paid, it's for the kids, for them to get their educations. K through 12 is where we need to work. And I think everybody knows there is a massive problem with JCPS, and I understand it's under the superintendent, but I would be putting a lot of pressure, I promise you.
Thank you, Mr. Yoakum. Mr. DeVore, 1 minute.
Yes, sir. So I am a former school board member. And when it comes to reading, is the essential learning area that we need to have. And our school systems failed at 70% proficiency. So my thing is, when I bring back Hooked on Phonics, bring it to the libraries, have a program set up to where parents can bring the kids there, get them to learn the consonants and vowels, have a little fun with it. And next thing you know, learning starts like a forest fire. All of a sudden they see these books. They start reading every book they can. And now what you have done, you have started something you cannot stop, and that's learning. So kids need to have an opportunity not to learn the basics, but give them a chance to explore all the different options, reading Treasure Island, and then use their imagination when it comes to books, and learning science. But they can't do that unless they know how to read. The basic vowels and consonants, they need to understand the O's and the masking we had hurt them when it came to learning even the basics. So we need to go back to utilizing those things to make our kids successful in their endeavors.
Thank you, Mr. DeVore. Mr. DiTillo, do you need the question?
Thrive by 5. I personally would put the option out there to completely decentralize JCPS and give every certified teacher the opportunity to become their own privateer, backed by JCPS, as auditors, of course, just to make sure that you get reimbursed for the construction paper, the left-handed scissors, and the fat crowns. We have problems going all the way up from K to 12. And I think specifically because there's been a horrible decline in the culture. The people are no longer worried about the future and more worried about instant gratification, more of the technological issue that sits right in their hands. Really, we have to give diversity in this situation by decentralization the opportunity to give these kids who want to be in early and thrive by 5 the opportunity to do it in their own neighborhood, just down the street, or even at home with their mother.
Right, thank you, Mr. Datillo, and we'll move to another area of questioning.
Okay, we are now going to move on to our last section of the evening. We're going to try to get out here on time. One of the things I do want to do is make an acknowledgement and a note that the new Chief AI Officer is actually a woman, and just wanted to make sure that we got that right. Moving on to responding to federal actions. This will be about pressures on the city coming from the administration, coming from Washington, D.C. So our first question is going to be about the ICE detention policy. Louisville recently changed its immigration sanctuary detention policy, now allowing Metro Corrections to hold people for 48 hours for ICE pickup if they were originally booked on a local charge. Very straightforward question. As mayor, would you maintain or reverse that policy? Why? I believe I'm starting with you, Councilwoman.
Would I maintain, because this mayor reversed it. I would bring it back to the policy that I also helped lobby for before I became a councilwoman in 2017. I believe that it is not Louisville Metro's police department or the Louisville Metro Department of Corrections' job to do the work of ICE. I think that ICE is not legitimate enough for me to even respect, and I will use every lawyer that we have to fight ICE and every police officer to make sure that they don't come through our city and treat people the way we've been seeing them treat, and they already are. Over 280 people have already been held. I would reverse that decision back to the original amazing decision that Metro Council made in 2017.
Thank you. Moving over to this side, Pastor Holiday Harris, would you like me to repeat the question?
Please.
Louisville recently changed its immigration sanctuary detention policy, now allowing Metro Corrections to hold people for up to 48 hours for ICE pickup if they were originally booked on a local charge. As mayor, do you retain that policy or do you reverse that policy?
I will retain it. Thank you.
Do you want to expand on that?
No.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Brunel.
I want to say that the mayor made that decision because they were threatened with the loss of federal funding, which would be devastating to our community. So it was a decision made under pressure and made with the interest of our city's fiscal health in mind. That said, I would maintain that policy. I do feel like that was really not a choice that he had when he is in the position of having to look out for this entire city.
Mr. Bailey, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, ma'am. I do not support the Louisville government helping ICE in any capacity at all. And that is because everything that's happening. Look at Alex Preddy. I forgot the woman's name. Renee Good, yes. People, you guys have constitutional rights, all right? The federal government is acting like you don't. And Louisville needs to set an example, and we need to show the federal government that we're not afraid to stand up to their tyranny, and we need to start by doing everything in our power to make sure ICE cannot operate in Louisville. All right? I am not afraid to fight for what's right. I don't care the consequences. I don't want innocent people dying. All right? I yield my time.
All right, thank you. Mr. Yocum, would you maintain or reverse the 48-hour hold policy?
I would absolutely maintain, and like I said, I'm an honest and transparent candidate, and I'll tell you all the truth. Kentucky is actually a highly dependent state on the federal government at a tune of over $20 billion a year. So, you know, you want to turn against them and this and that. Like I said, I support law enforcement, but correct law enforcement. You know, you have constitutional rights, and I would stand for you on if somebody tries to do an illegal search and seizure and everything, you have constitutional rights, and I would stand firm if somebody breaks that. And, you know, it's just the truth of it, you know. Law enforcement is not evil. It's not the devil. It's not, you know, your enemy, you know. And we have to bridge the gap between the community and law enforcement. And guess what? If LMPD had the proper training and fully staffed, do you think ICE would even be here in Louisville? Well, that's just the truth of it. I don't think so. I think LMPD can handle the city of Louisville, and that would be my wish, but thank you.
Mr. DeVore, do you need the question?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Let me do a quote. He who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life. Muhammad Ali. My key point is this. We need to keep our citizens safe as possible. We are in triple-digit homicide. We're not even talking about the triple-digit gun shootings going on. So we need to use every asset possible to keep you safe. And if it comes down to gun violence, and that's another thing we haven't talked about yet, or it comes down to youth crime, a lot of the stuff that's happening through youth crime, who do we need to utilize those resources? And I hate to say that ICE can go in there and take these people out of there. They came from El Salvador. The crime lords will go down there and they're raising havoc when it comes to drugs, prostitution, and getting our kids involved in things that they don't need to do. So my whole point is keeping Louisville safe any way possible, because I want you to walk out of their everyday life and say, I am safe because of what my administration is doing, because I want to have the right people in there doing the right job. And that's what comes out. It's your safety first.
If I could just clarify, is that a maintain the 48-hour hold or reverse it?
Maintain it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dattilo.
I do not need you to repeat the question, and I do have to say that I would maintain the policy, not only because of the safety that it would bring to the population. I live in Beachmont community. I live in the heart of the cartel. I have shootings on my street. My wife is afraid to answer the door every night. She doesn't even look out the window once it's dark. My neighbors have holes in their windows. And it's from cartel and local gangs fighting over territory. It's ridiculous that we're not allowing them to take violent criminals at least, or not wanting to let them take the violent criminals at least out of our jails. We have to look at the situation from far above to see this. And besides, from what we're going to want to do, we're going to need a lot of federal emergency funds to get this city straightened out.
Mr. Hurt, do you need the questions? Okay. Louisville recently changed its immigration sanctuary detention policy, now allowing Metro Corrections to hold people for up to 48 hours for ICE pickup if they were originally booked on a local charge. As mayor, do you maintain this 48 policy hold or do you reverse it?
I would immediately reverse the policy. We would not be holding anybody for ICE. I do think that we are on the backside of this. The president is going to, the GOP is going to lose in a landslide this fall, and whether the Democrats have any ability to do anything is still to be determined. But ICE will not have the free reign over the next couple of years that it's had. When it comes to operating Louisville as a place where people live rather than a place where people visit. The mayor and the police officers protect our constitutional rights. And it really gets down to a values issue here. This is why I propose reversing the merger, because your priorities are an expression of your values, and the values of people who live in what we used to call Louisville and what we now might refer to as the county are not aligned. And we are forcing each other to work with values that do not reflect our own.
That's time, thank you. We're going to move on to another question. This is about equity impact statements. Executive orders from the current administration have prompted Kentucky universities and state agencies to shut down their diversity, equity, and inclusion work. And Louisville school systems have lost millions in funding that clawed back specifically in the diversity, equity, and inclusion related programming. As mayor, do you remain committed to diverted equity inclusion as a value in Metro government? And would you maintain the city's requirement that departments submit equity impact statements when justifying their budget? We're starting at this table again. Pastor Holliday Harris.
Thank you for the question. As you know, diversity, equity, and inclusion is a very difficult subject. Being from up north, DEI applied to me when I worked for Merrill Lynch. And that was based on me being a black woman and they needing a number of black women to work for Merrill Lynch at the time. And maybe I shouldn't mention their name, but I did. And those were the protocols that I was faced with when I was working in corporate jobs. For me, I'm not in agreement with it. I believe that we are to be hired on our merit, not my skin color, and the knowledge that I have. That's just the place that I place it. I do believe that diverse communities, we have enough money that we can, if you like, we need to invest in our schools. We need to invest in our universities. I watch millionaires, and I'm not here to spend anybody's pockets, but they're dangling with $3 billion chains on their necks and things like that. We could have built schools and universities and corporations that will satisfy the needs of our communities, and that's where I stand on it. I yield my time.
Thank you. Ms. Purnell, do you need the question?
Yes, please.
As mayor, do you remain committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion as a value in how Metro government operates? And would you maintain the city's requirement that requires the equity impact statements to be submitted when justifying department budgets?
I'm in agreement with Lisa on this one. I think I support merit-based employment. I think the bigger issue that we need to be talking about in our city is the issues that go on in our government where employees don't feel safe to report wrongdoing, to report sexual harassment, and to be able to work in an environment where they can do their work and not be targeted. That is an issue that I feel like we need to address in our local government as we focus on merit-based employment. We talk about the situations going on, and our government in 2025 paid out $12 million in lawsuits, including many to former employees. And I think that's a big issue that's not being properly addressed. So again, I would go with merit-based employment, but I think there are other employment issues that really need to be prioritized.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey, do you need the question?
Nope, I'm all good. So, everybody should have an equal right to do anything. I support DEI, but it does need some changes. Now, so I'm a bit stumped. There's been problems with DEI, everybody knows. But there's also been good things, okay? Like everything, it's not black and white. It's gray, okay? Everybody deserves the right to do anything. And of course, we need merit-based hiring and stuff. But people should not be left out because of their race, skin color, religion, identity, whatever. Everybody deserves an equal right. I stand with the people. I support DEI. I yield my time.
Thank you. Do you need the background or the question?
No, no.
Thank you.
Once again, I'll just be completely honest. No, I am not a supporter of DEI. I am an American, and I believe that each and every one of us have the opportunity to chase the American dream together, and it's merit. And that's the thing. If you give me the position of mayor, and I've got 5 really good people that want to work for me, I don't care what color they are. I don't care what race they are. I don't care about any of that. I want the people, and like I said, there's people right here on this stage I would love to work with. And maybe it's the military that did it to me, but I'm colorblind. I don't judge people by anything. You know what I mean? I judge people that this is now my home of Louisville. I've been here my whole life. The Louisvillians are what I'm here for. I am here for all of you. You know what I mean? Like the whole separation and division is very profitable, right? Unity is dangerous. Unity is what causes people to end up losing their lives. Like, look at Dr. King. What do you say about character? That's the kind of person I am.
Thank you. We are going to move. Mr. DeVore?
Yes, sir. Now, what did Martin Luther King say about this? He said that color is not what we need to do, it's content of character. Why can't we get the right person, the best person for that best position to be able to serve you? We need to go back and change it to where it's a bottom-up approach when it comes to leadership and have community model leadership that you are involved in it because you're the one that can make a difference and making sure that every person has the opportunity to go for any job possible. They have to be able to train for that, to be able to get that. But when it comes down to it, is that we want the right person for that right position so that you get the best services possible. Because DEI, all it does is separate people. And really it's not fair because you got people out there that has beautiful, beautiful skills, caring heart, attitude. They want to make a difference in their city, in their neighborhood, the California, the Portland neighborhoods. They want to do something about this, but they can't. They got their hands tied. So why can't we have it open to where that those folks can say, hey, I want to go for this job, and I'm the right person for it.
Thank you. I'm just going to ask for a quiet and no noise in the audience. We are pushing through. We've got 3 more to go, and I think we can do it quietly, respectfully. Thank you.
All right. I went to elementary school at Rangeland. I got waffle stomped daily because I was a mulatto, dago, wop, whatever they wanted to call me, just because I was some mixed kid. Now, by the time I reached adulthood, my pigments basically faded to these freckles that I have left over, and now, with this new DEI fad, I'm not even allowed to talk about most things at work because they're really big on enforcing the DEI. I've even been told that you know, I shouldn't look people in the eyes or greet them. But it's gotten to a ridiculous point, the amount of eggshells you have to step on with all the rules. It's convoluted. If we replace equity with equality, I think that'd be a much better direction to go to. Everybody can join the race, but we can only have 3 people place in the top 3. Of course, you know, everybody gets to have fun. We can't look at it like equity is going to be the end result because everybody can't have everything.
Mr. Hurt, you're up. Question? Well, let me get to it. Executive orders from the current administration have prompted Kentucky universities and state agencies to shut down their diversity, equity, and inclusion work. Louisville school system lost millions in funding that was clawed back specifically in areas of diversity, equity, and inclusion programming. As mayor, do you remain committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion as a value in how Metro government operates? And would you maintain the city's requirement that departments submit equity impact statements when justifying their budgets?
Yes, I would. DEI is often, we forget that it's actually DEIA, right? So it's diversity, equity, inclusion, and access. These are, they're requirements on government agencies and organizations to make sure that they're reaching out when they do hiring and when they do their services, that they're not ignoring some group just because of a different, either learning difference or differently abled or because of their ethnic background. But let's call a spade a spade. DEI is nothing more than the latest right-wing boogaboo. It's a boogeyman that is used to, it's everything that you want it to be. It means nothing and everything at the same time. And as mayor, I will fight back against Frankfurt and these morons from Manchester and Somerset who want to make decisions for Louisville based on whatever the president makes as the latest thing.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Parrish Wright.
Thank you. I just want to say something plain first. I'm not scared, and when I'm mayor, I'm putting lawyers to work. And we're going to fight this. There's people in this audience that are black men, very highly educated, and black women who have lost their job due to this fear mongering. And I know that to get things done, you have to find the legal and ethical workarounds, and that's a lawyer's job, and our city has plenty of them. I will say that when we talk about DEI, we have a country that was built on racist practices. You need DEI-A. And so if we want to make sure that we are being a city, it starts with us. This is actually something a mayor can do something about. With nearly 6,000 or more employees, it starts with us. And we can be a beacon for the rest of the state that we will not back down. We will take care of our people, starting with our employees. And I will make sure we find whatever wording we need to make sure that we can continue to provide diversity and equity. And to answer your question, yes, to impact statements for every department.
Thank you. We are at time. That is the end of the forum and the end of our questions. Thank you, candidates. You will now get 60 seconds for your closing statement for us to be able to go around. I'm now going to start on this end instead with your closing statement, Councilwoman.
You all got me feeling it. I'm just ready to serve. I know that we deserve a city where everyone has the opportunity to live, to be able to afford, to feel safe, to live, to thrive. When I say we deserve better and we get there together, that means I'm talking about all of us, and I'm going to put you to work, not with the nepotism and who you know that we've already seen, but reality is that whatever we're building and striving for, it starts with all of you in this audience. My leadership is grounded in lived experience and building real solutions alongside community, with community in a real way, not just in pictures or in press statements. I am running for mayor because too many people are working hard and still struggling. We deserve a city where housing is affordable, neighborhoods are safe, and opportunity reaches every zip code. No matter your bank account, you deserve a mayor that's working for you, a Louisville that works for everyone. We deserve better, we get there together. ShamikaForLouisville.com.
Mr. Hurt.
We've heard a lot of good ideas tonight. I want to leave you with something honest. The mayor of Louisville didn't show up, and I think that says all we need to know, not about his schedule, because we know he's taking selfies, but about his relationship with accountability. 4 years in, and the city's less affordable, it's less safe, it's less connected than we were. That's the record. Nobody here can defend it because nobody's Craig Greenberg. I'm proposing something different altogether, not just different policies, but a different structure. I want to reverse the merger. I want to return government at the scale where a mayor actually knows the neighborhoods they serve, where a budget can be read and audited, where your street isn't just a line item that might kill you because a car is going to run into your building. I know that sounds big, but I grew up in Prestonsburg, a place that was told the whole time that the system was the system, and that's the way it is, and nothing could be done about it. I watched it happen, and we saw people believe it too. I'm not willing to watch it happen here. The county deserves its own voice. Valley Station deserves its own voice. Fern Creek deserves its own voice. The city deserves a government that works for all of us.
Thank you. And candidates, just to let you know, I know that you were told you had 90 seconds. If you got prepared statements, might need to adjust. We just want to wrap up on time and get our audience out on time. So 60 seconds is what we've got. Thank you.
You know, I said earlier that I would hire a bunch of angry people to go after the establishment and tear it apart and help me rebuild it. I think we're looking at them right now. And any volunteers from the audience would also be more than welcome to join. But the table that surrounds me has got some seriously brilliant minds to it. And I know that I can lead them to take the city back into the right direction. We've been going 60-something years in one direction, just kicking the can down the road, waiting for things to change. I know that we can make the things change if we take the old guard out and swap it with the people you see before you. I yield my time.
Thank you. Mr. DeVore.
Yes, Morwood DeVore. I want to be a mayor for the whole county, from the west end to the south end, the north end, the east end. We want to talk about what's best for our citizens. And I want to bring it down to where that we need to have a foundation of leadership from the bottom up, where you're involved in it instead of having to second guess what's happening at the top of the empire of Greenberg, if you know what I mean, where he makes the decisions and you're left out. There are a lot of decisions on policies that you have no control over, but why not take the chance to say, hey, let's have the courage to get at the table and say, Bob DeWar's right here, he's listening to us. I have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And we can make changes that can change the whole city. But it takes one day at a time. It takes the courage to say, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it for our children, and we're going to do it for the next generation to come, and then be able to earn money and when it comes to generational wealth that we can have to be proud of. And see the West End have beautiful homes that were changed because of you all.
Thank you. Mr. Yoakum.
Hey, and I'd like to close with this because, you know, these are some pretty tough questions, right? And I know a lot of people didn't like my answer to the DEI part, but I'm going to share a little story with you of actual experience. So here in Louisville in the Highlands recently, a young man named Dustin McElroy wanted to open a business called Madden Firearms, and guess what? A room of over 300 angry people opposing him, right? Only one person spoke up for him in this entire city, and that was me. I stood up for him, and we had a phone call, and he said, why would you do that? And I said, because it's your constitutional right, and you're a Louisvillian, and you want to open a business, and you're living the American dream. I've got your back. He said, but I didn't even show up, you know? That was a hostile room. When the people of Louisville ask me to show up, I do. And the whole thing with Dustin, he told me, he said, this is a black-owned business. I said, I don't care. I said, I got your back, and I'm going to help you live your American dream. That's the kind of person I am, and that should speak volumes. But thank you very much. Thank you to the moderators, and especially thank you to all the candidates for showing up. And thank you to all the voters. God bless each and every single one of you.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey.
Well, it's pretty obvious I'm young here. I'm 21. Compared to everybody else, I don't got a lot of experience. But I am, my heart's in the right place. I want what's best for Louisville. I've grown up here. I want to change. I want you guys to spread the word that your vote matters, all right? We need more than a 60% percentage of voters to actually come and vote. That's what it was 4 years ago in 2022. But you guys are Louisville, okay? Not these companies, not the federal government. You guys have the power to decide what will happen to Louisville. You guys pick a candidate that's going to change things for the better. Pick a candidate that's not going to just stay on the same path and let people die and stuff. Focus on what's right, all right?
Thank you. Ms. Burnell, 60 seconds, please.
Metro government needs a cultural overhaul. It's time to clean up our government to make transparency and accountability more than empty talking points. My life, like many of yours, has been filled with hardships. I lost my father to suicide and my brother and nephew to addiction. Life has shaped me into a fighter and a survivor who understands the importance of getting back up. I'm ready to bring that grit and tenacity to work for every family in this city. And if you saw the lawsuit that Metro Council filed trying to silence and intimidate me, you already know I don't cower to bullies and I'm not afraid to stand for truth. I firmly believe in the people's right to know what their government is doing. Public service is a public trust. We should not have inmates dying in our jail and employees afraid of reporting sexual harassment and unethical activities. This race is about building a better government that works for the people. Join us at Louisville Metro Watchdog Alliance. Grab your shovel, let's take our city back. My name is Tina Burnell, and I'm asking for your vote on May the 19th.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank each and every Louisvillian that's in this room tonight. This has been a difficult forum because there's been some tough questions that you have to answer in such a short amount of time. And the brevity of these questions and the things that really touch our city and our residents is dear to my heart. I just want to say we will stop treating housing and commodity and start treating it as infrastructure. We will dismantle the paper wall that's discriminating through bureaucracy. I'm in certain kinds of rooms that a lot of you don't enter into. So I hear several conversations on how money is moved around, how things are allocated in certain areas, and I want to be that voice. I want to be able to fix that and fix it for the communities that I serve. And as an outreach person, as a person of God, as a woman in the church, it's really hard to sit still when you're such a woman of action. I'm a person of action. I'm a black woman, I'm a truck driver, I'm a veteran spouse, and I'm also wanting to be your leader. And I would ask that you would meet with me, talk with me, and support me, and vote for me on May 19th. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to all of the candidates. I'm going to let Lyndon Pryor come back up. Thank you all for being here this evening. We're going to close out. There is a, let me talk.
Thank you again. Please give our candidates and moderators one last round of applause. I want to thank you all again for your participation. Moderators, thank you all for doing a beautiful job and keeping us in order and on time. And thank you again to the candidates for being here. A couple of quick things before we let you all go. One is we have, for the first time in this county's history, a nonpartisan mayoral race. And what that means is that these candidates, plus 3 more, will all be on your ballot. Typically in Jefferson County, you file to vote in, with a particular party, whether it be Democrat, Republican, or Independent. But that won't be the case for mayor. You will get to choose among all 11 candidates, and then the top 2 candidates will proceed to the general election in November. And that is why this forum was incredibly important for us to have, because we wanted you to be able to see everybody at one time. And I know that made for a long program, and I know it made for short answers and all of this, but we wanted to give the public an opportunity to hear from everybody. Because it's not fair for you to simply get to simply become familiar with those people who have enough money to put ads on television, or who are able to just flood you with social media. We wanted to make sure that you got to see and hear from everybody. And so hopefully tonight you heard things that you agreed with. Maybe you heard things that you didn't agree with. But now you get to go out and make an informed decision about it. I hope that you will follow up with these candidates on their websites or their social media page or however it is that they are putting their platforms out, but that you will go out and research further, that you will contact them, that you will try to figure out exactly where they stand on the issues that matter most to you, so that when you walk into that ballot box or go and check your check off your ballot in May here for the primary, and then again in November, you know that you are making the decision that best resonates with you and with your community. And so that is what is most important here. We believe that the people have power, but in order for the people to take power, they have to use power. And right now, your vote is the most powerful thing that you have. And so we want you to use it. The last thing that I will say before I leave you, and I actually want to shout out this young man. He is 21 years old and who has decided to run for office. That is incredibly important, because if you've heard nothing else, among the 8 who are here, and again, we invited all candidates, but among the 8 who are here, these are folks who represent what Louisville is, top to bottom. They are who we are. And what is important for me personally is that we understand that elected office is and should be accessible to all people.
Amen.
Nobody who runs and who is sitting in an elected position right now is any more special than you are. They may have had more money, or they may have had more connections, but most of all, they just had the courage to do it.
That's right.
And so as we move forward as a city, because there will be elections after this year, right? Elections come every 2 years in this city. And so there will be elections after this. I hope that you are encouraged, if you want to make a difference in your community, that you will step up and say, you know what, I can do that. Because I experienced 8 people who are just like me and who have the ability to run and make a difference just like me. All they had was the courage to step up and say, I want to do this. Yep. And you can do the same. And so we all need to get engaged. We all need to be prepared to shift power back into the hands of the people. I hope that you all will fill out the pledge to vote. This is a way for us to get people mobilized and motivated to turn out this May as well as again in November. But we are going to change this city for the better. Thank you again to our partners and all of those who participated with us. Again, the Louisville branch NAACP, the League of Women Voters, Black Leadership Action Coalition Kentucky, National Council of Negro Women, Clout, the Links, the Eta Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated in Ados, Kentucky. We could not have done this without your partnership, and we look forward to doing many more. Each of you have a great night. God bless, and we will see you soon.
Before that, we need to give them a hand because they did a fantastic job. Let's give them a hand, guys. They're the heart and soul of this.